I'm proud of the work that we all did together. I think we did great work, really great work.
I can survive without being on stage, but yes, I always enjoyed it and loved to do more.
We were a family, and we went through divorce. Don't know who divorced who, but anyway.
When you started out playing drums, how did that happen?
I was sort of 13, 14, and none of us had actually played any rock and roll, but one of them, I think, had already bought a guitar, so I thought, oh, well, I'll buy the drum kit then.
I was motivated by, sex and money, obviously. They're the two main motivations, I think. But also I had a certain political motivation, and maybe I had a need to express myself, which as a very young man I found difficult.
The first album was recorded at Abbey Road. We signed the record contract with EMI. I think we were lucky. We had Norman and we had an engineer called Peter Bone, and both of them really allowed us to learn about the recording process. I mean, I know people from the same era who were really never allowed to touch any of the equipment. It wasn't for 5 years that we really became international, successful on a commercial level, which was Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon was finally the idea of an album that was about one single concept and that was seamless, that started, and then flowed in different ways and finished.
Obviously, it's Roger's writing. I think that's been enormously important. I mean, I still, one of the things I'm quite fond of mentioning is the fact that I think that Dark Side actually has more relevance to a 50-year-old than it does to the 25-year-old guy who wrote it.
How much did each member contribute?
That's a really, really good question, and I'll see if I can find a lawyer to answer that.
We got on great for a number of years. We did great work together, and then the thing naturally, came to an end. And when things like that come to an end, there's always a bit of fussing and fighting and I'm not very good at music by committee. I think it's almost better if one person has a vision, and there are people who do, who like that, who thrive off it, but I think maybe I'm not that guy, if people have accused me in the past of being a bit controlling, and, well, I am.
Roger he left the band. I mean, it's fairly well documented, but I think Roger really felt that he would do better working on his own. A band only works for as long as people feel that there's some point in being together rather than being separate. Roger reached the point where he thought he'd do better on his own.
But then you did Live 8.
What happened was Geldof called me, and he went, "Oh, well, like he does," and I went, "All right." I said, "I'll call Dave, but I haven't got a number." He said, I've got the number. And I went, "Okay, all right." So he gave me the number, and I called the number, and amazingly enough, Dave answered the phone. Do you think you can tell? The night was really magical. There was an amazing amount of kind of energy coming back from the crowd. You could just sense how much it meant to how many people, which was extraordinarily flattering, but also very moving, in its own way. And so to have that, if we never do anything again, to have that memory is really good.